04 2022 special one for the children. Let's go. 48 people in here. What's that ding ding, Tim?
Ding ding. That means it's not dinner time. It's Q school time, brother. Welcome everybody. April 4th. This is a 04/04/22 day, Monday, April 4th. How you doing?
Man. Good. I actually caught on my phone. It was admittedly 4:44 a.m. on 4/4, and it's 2022, which 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, which is 4 plus 4. So multiple fours today, and those are the angel numbers. So angels are guiding y'all if you're here today. Love y'all. What a beautiful day. We've talked. Tim got to share some of his story about Matthew. That was very special. I learned some things I didn't know about. And then I can't believe that I forgot that you were in the office when 9/11 happened. Man, there's just no coincidence there at all. Crazy. And then, of course, the 17s. I love that. Both of them, right? All right, so let's play some tunes and have some fun here. So I'm going to play. I know you have that one video you want me to play, Tim. I really want to play this music, though. Let's do both. We'll do both. We'll do this one, and then maybe we'll talk for a minute and play the other song.
5. Let's do it.
This was irregular warfare at its finest. We have an army of digital soldiers.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we do. That's not what I was thinking. That's not the song I was thinking of. We're gonna play Tim's video music. What's the one where what's that one you said? What's the name of the one, Tim, where with the Matrix and Shady? What's that one called?
Living in the Matrix.
Oh, Living in the Matrix. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Protest line, freedom scribbled on your sign. Headline, New York Times, standing on the edge of a revolution. Hey, hey, don't they? The secret safe with the NSA. The God we trust or the CIA, standing on the edge of a revolution. Yeah, we're on the edge of a revolution. No, we won't get up, we won't go away, 'cause we're not waiting, it's not solution. No, we don't want to hear another word you say, 'cause we know we're all depending on the next future. No, we can't turn back, we can't turn away, 'cause this time we are relying on the next solution. No, we won't lay down in a selfish way, 'cause we're standing on the edge of a revolution. Wall Street, common thief, we made it hot, they all go free. Brand New York, to find a street, standing on the edge of a revolution. Same shit, different day, can't keep fed if I can't get paid. Well, I'll be dead if the shit don't change, standing on the edge of a revolution. Yeah, we're standing on the edge of a revolution. No, we won't get up, we won't go away, 'cause we're not ready for this solution. No, we don't want to hear another word you say, 'cause we know we're all depending on the next future. No, we can't turn back, we can't turn away, 'cause this time we are relying on the next solution. No, we won't lay down in a selfish way, 'cause we're standing on the edge of a revolution. What do we want? What we want? know we won't give up, we won't go away, 'cause we know we're winning, it's not through. No, we don't wanna hear another word you say, 'cause we know we're all winning, I'm blessed with you. No, we can't turn back, we can't turn away, 'cause this time we are relying on the last few. No, we won't lay down in this selfish state, 'cause we're standing on the edge of a revolution. No, we won't, we won't hate, no, we're gonna get there. Revolution. No, we won't, we won't hate, standing on the edge of a revolution. No, we won't, we won't hate, no, we're gonna get there. Revolution. No, we won't, we won't hate, standing on the edge of a revolution.
Nice. That was awesome.
Yeah, isn't that something, eh? Wow.
Yeah. So just a heads up, I got some friends here. I have to keep my mic open when I share screen, guys. So you might hear some noise in the background. You guys are more than welcome. If you have a question, though, you guys can talk now. We had to be quiet while the movie was playing there, the music. You guys probably heard just a little bit, but I was just telling them, like, in that video, you guys see the soccer players. Anybody know? I mean, there was been hundreds and hundreds of soccer players around the world that have had heart attacks in their 20s and 30s, all vaccinated, right? And it's, in fact, there were so many of them dying that Wikipedia stopped keeping track of them. It's very, very disturbing. But anyways, I got some friends today, so you might hear them in the background. Super exciting to have them here and learning, and they're ready. They're ready for the information. So Tim, I was even thinking that's where I was giving them more information, and then I just started telling them what Q was. So don't dumb it down. If somebody asked you who or what is Q, how would you explain that, Tim?
That's a great question. And I just want to say any friends of yours are friends of ours, my friend. So thank you very much. And we're going to dedicate this show to you guys because you're sitting there right by my partner's side, my brother from another mother, Kyle, undercover white hat. So that question, I'm glad you asked me that, because what Q is to me is life-changing. It really changed my thought process. I used to be, before the lockdowns that occurred back in 2020, March 17th, I'll never forget the day, and there's a 17 in there too. But that's when it was really weird, because prior to that, I was fearmonger. I was the so-called Karen at work. I was the one that was saying, everybody wipe everything down. This stuff's going to get you. Apparently everybody's dropping dead over in China and all this. So, I mean, I was kind of freaking everybody out because I was believing the narrative, right? But then something triggered me to just start watching a little bit more on YouTube. I was at home with my son. I took a whole year off work, Kyle, and I started watching some of the YouTube channels, the digital soldiers, as we now are known as digital soldiers here, fighting for freedom, fighting for our children, fighting for our grandchildren. And I caught on to 4 or 5 beautiful shows, Matrix and Groove Show, Praying Medic, X22 Report, iPod was big back then, and there was a couple others too. But what happened to me is my thought. I started getting really pissed off. I started getting angry. I said, "What? Hang on a second here. What are these guys talking about? Why are they saying the opposite of what I've always learned and believed?" And I never really was a big news follower, but when I watched the news, it was maybe 3 or 4 times a week. I'd watch it, catch an hour's worth here and there. And, it was just, that's what I watched, and that's what I believed was going on in the world. But then, when they started watching these shows online and they started showing these Q posts or Q drops, and back then, don't forget, the Q drops were happening in real time. So, for example, when we were watching the Matrix Groove Show, Kyle, they had the alert on. It was called the Q alert. So every time a Q drop would drop, they'd have that alarm like, dude, or whatever. And Matthew would start laughing in the background. And of course, I'm listening intensely to these guys talking about this Q information. And the more I started listening and reading the Q drops and following their shows, I got hooked into learning. I wanted to know what this was all about. I was seeking the truth, because at that particular time, I knew something was weird. Something weird was happening. And it didn't take me long to make the switch over from the Karen to the digital soldier. And then, of course, I went through all those emotions, Kyle, that everybody does. They get angry, not only against, the tyranny and the government and all the institutions, but I got angry at myself for falling into that trap.
It's like the stages of grief you really have to go through, yeah? almost in a way.
Yeah, but my anger, what I did is I turned my anger into a positive. I said, you know what? I'm never going to let this happen to my son or my loved ones, my family. I'm going to become a fighter for the truth. And what I did is I drew a line in the sand. And because it took me about maybe a month and a half of following these guys and gals online and I went in behind the scenes and did my own research. I didn't just take all their words for it. I did my own research. And every time I researched something, Kyle, I found something more beautiful, more truth. And I'm going, my God, this is for real. And when they said trust the plan, I made a decision to draw a line in the sand. And I said, I'm trusting this plan. This sounds too much like a military operation, and it has to be something that's going on, to combat the tyranny and stuff. So I'm so glad I made that decision, brother, because look where we are now, man.
Me too, brother. Amen to that. Yes, thank you. And so I basically straight up, Q is a military operation. It's a public information dissemination program. It's a way to communicate directly to the public. An ongoing military operation carried out primarily in covert operations to bypass the fake news media and other censors, big tech, et cetera, because it had to be carried out covertly for a multitude of reasons, which you learn as you go along, so that people would not be shocked to the core, and they're going to be anyways. All of us will. No one knows the time and day, but at some point in time, the shoe will drop. We thought it was going to come several times. We've had several pump fakes. A lot of Q's information was actually disinformation in the sense that made us think something was on the cusp of happening. That was to make the deep state expend ammunition. A very, very famous one is Q started talking about D5 in the spring or May-ish of 2018. Like, what is D5? Look it up. D5, well, that's the highest classification of an avalanche. Okay, that could be one thing. Military operations, there's always multiple meanings. Okay. Also, the Q information's quantum. So we're going to be covering posts from 2018, 19, but it's relevant to past, present, or future. So sometimes we're reading a drop from 3 years ago. It seems like they're talking about now more than ever before. Q, no one really knows who it is. They claim to be a military government inside at the highest level. Q clearance, which they allude to being in the Department of Energy, the nuclear, but also accordingly the highest classification of your government. Actually, let's play a little video on that. I have one. I hate the robot voice, but it's good information about Q clearance. I've never showed this on the recording. Oops. Sorry, guys. This real quick. Should have had this one up.
Information at this level.
Pardon the robot voice.
Q
I can't stand robot
clearance
voices, but it's good information. This is what Q clearance is. Some of information about it.
United States Department of Energy security clearance that is more or less equivalent to a United States Department of Defense top secret clearance. Much of the DOE information at this level requires collateral access to critical nuclear weapon design information. Such information bears the page marking TOP secret KD in the paragraph marking. Note that there is also a Department of Energy top secret clearance, which is, in fact, rather more limited. The DOE security clearance process is overseen by the Department of Energy Office of Hearings and Appeals. DOE clearances apply for access specifically relating to atomic or nuclear-related materials. The clearance is issued predominantly to non-military personnel. In 1946, U.S. Army Counterintelligence Corps Major William L. Warner, in his capacity as the first chief of the Central Personal Clearance Office at the newly formed Atomic Energy Commission, named and established the criteria for the Q clearance. The security clearance process at the DOE is adjudicated by the DOE Office of Hearings and Appeals, where an individual whose security clearance is at issue may seek to appeal a security clearance decision to an administrative judge and subsequently to an appeal panel. There are actually two types of Q clearance: Q sensitive, abbreviated QS, and Q non-sensitive, abbreviated QNS. The difference is that both have access to TOP secret formally restricted data and national security information, but QS can access TOP secret restricted data, whereas QNS can only access restricted data up to the secret level. As of 1993, Q clearances required a single scope background investigation of the previous 10 years of the applicant's life by both the Office of Personnel Management and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and as of 1998 cost $3,225. In popular culture, Q Clearance was a 1986 novel by Peter Benchley, satirizing Cold War secrecy and politics. Actor Charlton Heston once held a Q clearance for 6 years when he served as a nuclear armament topics training film narrator for the military during his post-World War II military service years. In Season 6, Episode 7, Archer claims to hold Q clearance in an attempt to access a highly restricted USAF base. See also, classified information in the United States, L clearance. References.
Yeah, I can't listen to the robot voice. Hope you guys are sorry. There's some noise back here. Brandon was hugging Brett. Brett said he never used to do that. I'm not going to apologize for that. That was super cool. So I know we had a little noise back here, but that's Q clearance, guys. It's also Q post 34. Let's add that one in there. 2788, 4881, and 34. 34 is the first post where this government insider. Why did that come up as 0? What did I do wrong? Oh, 2 hashtag. Sorry, guys. So Q post 34. Anything else about Q clearance, Tim, or what else should we say? So, public dissemination program to the public started October 28th, 2017, and then has been temporarily paused December 8th, 2020. I think, and I personally, I'm of the belief that the last drops are the first drops, and the first drops are the last drops. So this very first post, October 28th, talking about some things about Hillary Clinton, I think will be the end of the show. In the beginning, or the last post is the beginning where they start this video. We're not going to take it anymore by Twisted Sister. That's the last post that Q made. Other one, Durham. And then, of course, I was telling Shelly actually about this too here. Nothing can stop what is coming. Q had been saying that for several years. Then we find out that we go there and we always find the sauce, right, Tim? We're always digging for information. We never take information at its base or whatever. We always question everything. Q has taught us that as well. We always look for multiple sources of information. So this stands for, the short name is CISA, CISA, stands for Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. And we didn't find out till this date when Q told us. I mean, some people maybe knew about it, but not many. November 12th, 2020 was where I got, holy cow, I got a bunch of tabs here. Where'd that go? Sorry, guys. So there it is. Okay. So then and then just like the COFIFI Act, and I'll show that too, the National Council of Statewide Interoperability Coordinators, a whole mouthful, but basically the most important part, the same acronym as nothing can stop what's coming. And the cyber security infrastructure was actually created by Donald Trump. I just learned that actually recently. And it deals with, among other things, the elections. Donald Trump also signed an executive order 13848, September 12th, I think, of 2018, before the 2018 midterms, talking about foreign interference in elections and how that would be prosecuted. I'm going to bring up the Trump Tracker app. Make sure you guys all download that. If you haven't, it's on your phone. You can get it on your phones. I do it on my computer also. Has everything. When his rallies are going to be announced. It's literally made by Anons. You can track everything. All the other different Trumps. Twitters are on here. Presidential archives with executive orders, White House videos, Trump rallies, anything you can think of, Trump is here. Even who he's endorsed, campaign fundraising, election integrity audits, the whole gambit. I haven't even looked probably through 90% of it, but I'm going to just show here executive orders just to show you how to do this. Presidential archives, executive orders. Again, if my memory's correct, my memory's not too bad, huh, Tim? We'll see. I've had some brain damage last night. Where was it? September 13th. That is it. Where is it? Oh, 2018. Wrong year. September 12th, which is an important date, right? 9/11 is important to esoterically to the deep state. They use gematria, other dates of esoteric and occult origin. It also has to do with things that are planetary too, right? Like 12/21 is an important date to them because that's the darkest day of the year. That's a date that Donald Trump signed a very important executive order. Let me show that one too. I was talking to you, Shelly, right? Mm-hmm. When it was on 12/20/17. So I'm talking about two different things here, guys. Stay with me. 12/21. It was actually okay. This the executive order was written 1/3. Oh, that's the wrong one. One more. Okay. So the executive order was written on December 20th, 2017 in the evening, and it became active at 12:01 a.m. on 12/21/2017, the darkest day of the year, blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse and corruption. So basically anybody involved in human trafficking or government corruption. This was way back in 2017.
Oh, wow.
Kyle, is this the one where Eric Schmidt from Google, Alphabet Google, stepped down the day after?
The very next day. Can we get that in the diggers? Can we get that real quick, guys? I want to show that, just show. And then, so that was 12/21. Anything else to add on that one, Tim?
No. You're rocking and roll. I saw Jonathan had his hand up earlier though, but you were on a roll.
Bring that guy on. Leave his mic open. And Jonathan, we'll leave your mic open. Just make sure you keep your mic closed when you shut your mouth when you're talking to me, boy.
Jonathan, are you going to take that from brother Kyle? Okay, raise your hand, Jonathan. Let's get you in here, bud.
He might have stepped away for dinner. He said
if he comes back, open his mic. Let me know when he gets back, and he can have his mic open. We need a couple people like that. Annie Oakley can have mic open.
Hey, he's back.
Jonathan.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, I just had an idea, Kyle. You let me know what you think. So for your friends who are unfamiliar with the whole Q thing, I think it would be great to explain what 4chan is and why was it as a platform to disseminate this information.
Yes, thank you. And I did mention it briefly, but I'm glad you brought that up too, because that is very important, this whole thing. And I think I'll go into 2788 posts and then go right into that. And if you want to add anything or anyone else, get ready. We'll talk about the chans a little bit. Here's the other executive order. This one is 13848. Okay, they're actually kind of easy to remember, some of these important ones. That one on December 21st is 13818. This is 13848. September 12th, 2018. This is important. So 9/11, and I don't know it at nearly the depth of like queued up, or plenty of you guys probably out there know the whole meaning of the 9/11, everything to do with that. But I truly believe it's the white hats using this date of 9/12, the completion. 9 is the number of completion in numerology. Also, it's a numerical of 3, right? 369. Tesla talks about that a lot too. So there's a very important date. And
it's
so
also, Kyle, it's also, if you take the ninth month and then you take the 12, the 1 plus 2 is a 3. That's a hard 93. That's called 93. So this is an attack. This is the attack against the all-seeing eye, the Illuminati bastards that are trying to take over this world. And Donald Trump and the military and all them are fighting against them. This is the war of good versus evil, folks, using numbers.
Yeah, so here it is right here. Executive order. This, again, was signed before the 2018 midterm even. Think about that. Imposing certain sanctions in the event of foreign interference in a United States election. We caught them, and we caught them all. It's been a sting operation from the beginning. So that's another big one there. Again, I got that from the Trump Tracker app. Make sure you guys download that if you haven't already. And so, yeah, let's talk about the chans. Let me go right to this Q post, though. One of my favorites. I haven't done it in a while. I know you guys have been with me. I've heard this one quite a bit, but I think it's a good time to revisit. I'm just going to read this post. It explains Q at a very nice, awesome level on so many different levels. So, and I told you about 4chan already, and anybody's new, Q was posting, like Jonathan said, we'll go into a little bit more, but an anonymous message board known as 4chan, basically known as like the last free speech platform on earth. And they're kind of like a old boys club, right? It's plenty of women in there, but it's the old boys club where like they didn't like people even being in their circle. So it's not for the faint of heart. There can be, racist comments. There can be female nudity, things like that. It's gamer type people and having fun and again having that opportunity to have true free speech. So you got to be ready for everything. But this Q entity came on and posted on this anonymous board and just simply started asking questions. And they started this massive movement because the questions they were asking had relevance to them. We would dig on these questions and there was something there, like talking about planes of money flowing in cash to Iran and Iraq and Afghanistan, $1.5 billion in cash. I love this. If, there's two kinds of drug dealers. There's drug dealers with forklifts and there's drug dealers without. When you have that much money, you don't have time to count it. You weigh it. So $1 million in all $100 bills weighs roughly 20 pounds. Tim, what do you think $1 billion in all $100 weighs? I know. So do you guys do pounds or kilograms in Canada? You guys do kilograms, yeah?
We do a combination of both, but I think it's probably 17,000 pounds or maybe 117,000 pounds. I don't know.
Pretty dang close. So it's and I love this one too because a million or billion is 1,000 million. So again, a million in all $100 bills is roughly 20 pounds, kind of fit in a little bag. $1 billion, guys, is over 10 tons. 20,000 pounds. So 17,000, Tim, is definitely the right answer. That's close enough. 20,000 pounds. So you don't just, it's kind of a big deal to ship $1.5 billion in cash, literally in a cargo plane, like a C-130 or one of those military planes, flew cash to Iran. Why wouldn't they just wire transfer that to them? Well, because it's for illegal activity. You're, nothing, it's not tracked, right? You can buy guns and weapon and humans, human trafficking, drugs, et cetera, et cetera. You can pay for terrorist activity. Okay, this is crazy. All right, so Q was asking these questions, and then we'd find the sauce. Even like the mainstream articles were like posted about this stuff. That's the best thing too, is we find articles from, it still is the fake news. They create a narrative, but they still do report things, and things get reported and that are real. So we track all that from all these different locations. So let me just read.
Sorry, Kyle. I was just thinking, you know what our friends should be asking us? Not what Q is, but how the hell do you know so damn much? That's what they should be asking us, because it's the Q information that led us to research to have this ability to have all this information that a lot of people don't understand or don't have because they've been lied to.
Yes, and there's that. What's that one post where Q says they created a ship? A ship was a place for us all to come together and start becoming critical thinkers, researchers. So the smartest people on the planet got together and started sharing information. The idea of information, the flow of information, is this whole world we're in now, right? And it's trying to suppress it or not, but the flow of information is power. Once you learn things, and that's what this is about. And a shout out to all of our beautiful digital soldiers. We got 47 people live in here. So as you've seen already, or I don't know if it's on the recording, but I'll ask for something and it'll be right here in Diggers. By the way, we're on t.me/QSchool with all Qs. Make sure you download Telegram if you haven't. Obviously you guys are here, but my friends maybe haven't yet. t.me/QSchool, all Qs there. QSCHQQL, and then our discussion board, t.me/QSchool Diggers. I'm sure you guys had some good gifs and memes during the music. Oops, I wanted to see if anybody dropped anything. Did Mermaid, have you seen the where am I going? Where Diggers? Anything good there? Some of the things I asked for, do you know? Let's take a look. Oh, look at that. Okay, let's see. Graphene. Oh, that's good. Hydroxide, that's the big one too. Graphene, everyone knows about graphene oxide, but it's actually graphene hydroxide in the vaccines. That German scientist brought that out to the public and died shortly later for that. So make sure we pass that word on. It's graphene hydroxide. OH negative, I believe, is the scientific thing there. But yeah, so we learned, us as a movement, collectively, we just asked we researched everything. And, we all have different skill sets too. And there's amazing, incredible, brilliant, beautiful people in this movement. Some are so talented at making music or videos or, to break the narrative especially. And, I feel not to talk about myself, but one of my gifts is that I have a good memory and I can connect a lot of dots. And actually, one of my, so that's just something I'm good at. And then we all combine and work together. So some people on here, what we call diggers, people can find stuff online so fast that I wouldn't take me forever. They'll get it in seconds.
Don't forget the word autists. That's a big word.
Autists on 4chan, 8chan, especially the autists. This is exactly what this movement was for, because the Q drops are so complex that it's made for people. The autists is literally what Q says. Those are the ones that are on the chan. These are a lot of us are here, right? And no accident, because there's so many different meanings, multiple layered to all this information. So, Ken, one more thing on the diggers, guys. Can you guys find me? This would be super bonus points because it used to be on YouTube. I think it got removed. I don't know if you could hear the robot lady voice. Again, I couldn't even hardly listen to that. But she talks about Archer, one of my most favorite shows ever, which, by the way, watch season 1 through about 6. and you'll have your mind blown if you want to learn about intelligence agencies. Archer, the animated series, is definitely briefed on intelligence information, and they drop a lot of bombs in there, truth bombs galore. I mean, even to one of the ladies working at the intelligence agency is just working for fun because she's part of the Tunt family, and she even talks about her creepy uncle like staring at the children and having these tunnels in his giant mansion. So they go everywhere. But Archer steals Q clearance from a CIA agent known as Slater, who is clearly Christian Slater, the actor. He just goes by Slater. These people are also head of the CIA, and then the other guy winds up being also the head of the FBI. So then imagine that. And I always called it that. The FBI is like the nasty sister to the CIA. They've been in cahoots for everything. They are the domestic part of this problem. And I'm not sure how that's going to work out, Tim. I guess we trust Ray, and there's something big has to happen, come from the FBI, prosecuting Hillary Clinton, prosecuting all this crap to get their reputation back, because I would say they're just as corrupt as the CIA. But Archer, anyways, they show an actor in the CIA, and he has somehow, Archer stole his Q clearance. They land at Area 51, and he gives his Q clearance, and it's a really funny scene, but it got taken off YouTube. So if anyone can find that, please let me know if you get that in Diggers, because it's gone from YouTube. So I don't know, probably because it says Q clearance. So let's read this. Anything to add? Yeah, come on, Mike.
I'll find it for you, buddy.
All right. Thank you, buddy. John, anything to add before I'll read this post, and then I'll
Sure. So a little bit more about the 4chan. So as you mentioned, it was completely uncensored. It's not owned by big tech, or at least it wasn't. And it was used by a lot of three-letter agency, anons, which we call anonymous people. It was used also by autist people, because it's picture board, right? It's not like your Facebook. It's text and images. The whole meme culture comes from 4chan. Because it's a way to bypass censorship, especially text censorship. You know, you have those algorithms that will detect certain keywords, and then it will be blocked or hidden from others. The other important thing, why is it anonymous? It's anonymous because it blocks your IP address, and you don't have a username. Everybody posts as anonymous, but the way we recognize that Q is posting is everybody has what we call a trip code. So a trip code is generated by your IP address, which is unique. There's an algorithm that they use in which masks your IP address and give you a trip code. So whenever Q is posting, he's reusing the same trip code over and over again, unless he's changing his IP address because he's using some sort of VPN. And then he would tell us, right? He has some posts that tell us, okay, here's my new trip code.
Thank you, Jonathan. So, as you said, he. How do you know it's a he?
I don't. That's a good point.
There's definitely a lady or two on Q Team, by the way, but I think the drops come from a quantum computer. Man, it's so deep when you go into this. So this is 8chan here. What 8chan looks like. My images aren't coming up, but 4chan's a little bit. What's the difference between 4chan and 8chan, Jonathan?
That's a good question. I don't know. It's two different domains. They work in a similar way. I think what happened with 4chan and 8chan, they got censored in other ways. You had like DNS company blocking the access for the website. The URL were blocked from Facebook and other platform. And eventually they migrated everything to 8chan. 8kun. And the interesting part is 8kun was hosted on a range of military IP address, which no corporation could do unless the military themselves. So when we say it's a military operation, well, we have sauce to prove it.
Yes, and they've proven themselves well over many times. That was actually a very important part of actually the Q operation, is validating themselves, because people would come on from time to time on the chans. It's anonymous. They could always be claiming they're insiders. And some people clearly had information beforehand, but there was also plenty of fakes, right? And actors, what we would call a LARP, a live action role player. But it's on the chans, that would be somebody that's basically faking, right? They're not the real thing. And so they validated themselves in the very beginning, a lot of times, mostly with what we would call deltas. There's two different kinds of deltas. Delta, again, means change in time. It's the Greek alphabet letter delta. It looks like a triangle that is in mathematics and physics, it means, that's where it comes from, is the change in time. So Q would post, and then Donald Trump would tweet a certain amount of minutes later. And there was coding and information in that. And eventually it got down to what would be called a zero delta, meaning Q would post always first, and then Donald Trump would tweet less than a minute later, oftentimes within about 10 seconds. According to Q, that's because they would push the button to send the thing at the same time from two different devices. I think that's a lie. PS, by the way, to decode that whole thing, guys. And so there was zero deltas, and it's very important that Q posted before Trump, because it would be very easy to set something up on the chans where as soon as Donald Trump tweeted, you had a pre-generated message, and then it automatically posted a second after Donald Trump tweeted. So by Q posting first and Donald Trump tweeting less than a minute later, and in fact, they've mapped this out as well too. I have that saved on maybe my old phone. I should share that with everyone. It's really cool. There's this map that shows the zero deltas where, again, Q posting, Trump tweeting less than a minute later is so much more higher astronomically, the zero delta, than any other random number, 1 minute delta, 5 minute delta, 20, 30, 40, etc., that it's mathematically not possible to be only a coincidence. It's that much higher, the zero delta. So that's one of many ways that Q has also validated themselves, because it was very important for us to know this is a real operation, because this information is very deep and disturbing as well too in some regards, and what's about to happen here. So, and one more thing too, Q being quantum. I love this one. This is January of 2018. So Q had switched from 4chan to 8chan. According to Q, it was because 4chan was getting attacked. I think that was certainly happening, but they were lying about what was happening, and the plan was to go over to 8chan. Here's a great example of how the Q information is quantum. So we go to January 8th, 2018. If you guys remember, January 6th, 2021. This, horrible, shitty day, all kinds, especially for anyone. We remember that, right? It was that, the whole thing sucked big time for many ways. Donald Trump was removed off Twitter on January 8th, 2018. Also, anyone that had regularly posted Q stuff on Twitter was removed. We were purged that day. I had lost my Instagram account, actually, November 3rd, 2020, the day of the election, 11/3/2020, and then I was still using Twitter, but I got removed here. Guess where we all went when Twitter got taken down? We went to Telegram, and that was by design too. And anytime you see this capital Truth, a lot of times in the Q posts, I honestly believe this is a reference to Truth Social, which is coming. So look at that in this. But in this instance, it's a triple quantum. In 2018, they're talking about Truth Belongs to the People, shifting over to 8chan. Okay, but then 3 years later, January 8th, 2021, Truth Belongs to the People. We go to Telegram, and now it's probably going to be validated again with Truth Social in some way. But look at this right here, January 8th, 2018, important. No private comms, past, present, future. No comms made outside of this platform. Any claims that contradict the above should be considered fake news and disregarded immediately. Where we go one, we go all, patriots, Q. Now, a lot of people would take Q's information as gospel, but they teach us to question everything. This is disinformation right here. There are comms everywhere. There's comms in Trump tweets and Scavino tweets and Chuck Grassley and everything you can imagine.
Kyle?
In the news. Yeah.
Yeah, well, while you got on the screen, I see Great Awakening. Okay, Great Awakening is in a lot of these Q drops. Now look right there where it's got Great Awakening on the screen. 514 Q drop, 233355 55. We were having some fun last night here on our channel. When you type in Great Awakening into the QA.news, how many Q drops do you get? If you want to talk about comms, this is one right in your face for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect
So when I'm doing my show, I get the Q drops from what's called a third-party aggregate, where they take all the drops from the chans, which I was showing you some of that on just a minute. Here's 4chan. It's not easy to navigate if you're not familiar with it. And Jonathan was talking about its picture. Again, it appeals to like autists, right? Autistic, and what he was talking about by bypassing censorship. I know a lot of you guys might know this, but this is kind of just a refresher course. We're hopefully getting lots of new eyes too. Is a meme, is a picture and a graphic with words, or not always. picture's worth 1,000 words. And like Jonathan said, is it bypasses censorship because they can have AI algorithms that look for certain words. And when you type them, it can get your post censored or shadow banned or something of that nature, which, by the way, think of different ways to camouflage. One thing I recommend is writing in all caps. When you do all caps, instead of a capital I, you'll use a lowercase l. Instead of an O, you use a 0. Some of those things will just change the word enough that it doesn't get blocked. In some regards, there's other things to do. But we would share memes to awaken people, and it's super powerful because it breaks people's, it's literally called decoupling the brain from what the mainstream media has programmed into people. When you share like an image of Donald Trump never going to insert the United States into a armed war. He's the first president in 50 plus years that didn't enter the United States into an armed conflict, enter a new one. Isn't that crazy? Nobody talks about that. That's why he was awarded, he had 4 peace agreements in the Middle East, and he got 5 nominations for a Nobel Peace Prize. Didn't get it because the award's bogus since they gave Obama. Let's show. So I'm on QAG, QAGG.news. There's some other places you can get the drops, guys. Make sure you learn them. QAG.news, QAlerts.net. QAnon.pub, QPost.online. Make sure you find places to get the Q drops. I love QAGs. It's really got tons of searching tools, and we're always searching different things. So we were playing around with this last night. That was really fun, by the way, too, Tim. We were trying to guess. That was super fun. Great Awakening. Check it out. 55 drops. And 55 is an important number because that's a military call sign when you're on the radio. Can you hear me? And there's 2, it's how do you hear the volume and how is the clarity? 1 to 5, 5 is the best. So when they say 5-5, that means loud and clear. So Q would say 5-5, meaning do you understand our comms? Because they have to communicate in a very elaborate way because they're actually disclosing classified information if you understand how to read the drops. But
they cannot, and there's one, and there's one more. Type in the storm. I want to show all the new people watching tonight and in this recording in the future. The storm. These are the comms, folks. Right in the board. Like there's almost 5,000 Q drops. There's 4,954 Q drops. So you type in the storm. What do you get, Kyle?
17 drops. What's 17, Tim?
That would be the letter Q, Kyle. You heard my son earlier.
Yeah, this divine timing, this divine everything. It's crazy you mentioned the storm because I literally played this for my friends just before we went live, and I think we should play it for everyone.
5.
Only a
5.
Gotta go. Do.
Jonathan, where are you? Jonathan's got that one.
Oh yeah, where's our? Is that
He
Brandon?
left.
Watch this. You guys saw this already, but it's good to watch again too. So by the way, too, dates on everything. October 1st, 2017 was the Las Vegas shooting, which according to Q, and if we track in the airplanes, I haven't verified this self, but it hasn't, in my knowledge, been debunked by the Anons. But if we track planes, Donald Trump was also in Las Vegas the night of the shooting, and so was Prince Ben Salman. He was gambling in Planet Hollywood undercover like he would like to do. Then about a week later, what's the date? I want to say October 8th maybe on this. We should know the exact date. We should actually even see the time that he gives this. If somebody diggers want to drop this, the storm. So Donald Trump brought the media in. They didn't know what the meeting was for, what's this all about. And all these people, the generals and their wives are here. And this is what he says.
Well, the economy was
What's the storm?
could be economy for the storm.
What storm is
We
the
have the
president?
world's great military people in this room. I will tell you that. And we have great people. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
But give us a hint on your majesty.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, Brett, you should watch his speeches because Brett's really good with body language, Tim. And by the way, guys, Donald Trump is communicating with us all the time. So when we watch his rallies, if anybody's ever seen that, he will say different numbers that I mean, it doesn't really matter, but it can't really necessarily be fact checked. He'll say gas was $1.87 when I left office, or maybe he'll say gas was $1.89. He's telling us comms, and we, Tim and I, all of us will go to the Q drops, but his body language everything he does, he's communicating to us. And if people are new here, don't know that, Donald Trump is playing a character. Why are you playing a character? Because if you're in this major war, if it's good versus evil, a 5D chess game is what it's called. When you play a character, you know how this group of people will respond if you do this, and you know how this other group of people will respond if you do that. So by being in control of a character, he's created a character. He can always be steps ahead, because if the character Donald Trump does X, the media will do this. His supporters will do this also. So he plays the character, and he plays stupid.
Speaking of Trump, let's do one more fun thing for all the new people. Let's go to QEgg.news, search bar, type in Q+. This is one more comp for everybody. So you've got the Great Awakening, 5555. You've got the Storm, 17. And what's Q+? Q+ is Donald J. Trump in these Q drops. How many are there?
45. Why is 45 important?
POTUS 45, 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, or 41020, or DJT, as we call him here.
So I wonder if I could find it. Oh, it's under White Squall, I think. No, let me find it. So Q+ is, we figured out, is Donald Trump. Let's do a really fun Q proof too. For example, what was the day? March 15th. How do I do this? Hold on, guys. We just did, it was March 15th. How do I do dates? Bear with me, guys. I got to remember how to do the date specifically. Was it jackets? Remember jackets? Oh, there we go. 03/15. What year is it? Must be 18, right? Sorry, guys. Bear with me 1 minute. Dang it. I need to find that post with can somebody help me find the post? We did it on our March 17th recording where it the call signs. Maybe I can do call signs of what they were flying under with the military. Let's see if this comes. Minutes ago. Okay, I can't find it. Dang it. I want to show one more thing. So what are we at, Tim? What are we show? Okay, Q+. Okay, Trump validated himself. So he's on the chans, guys. He knows about the Q operation at the highest levels. He's part of the plan. And I strongly believe he's been a part of the plan much longer than you could ever imagine, including back when he was at the military academy. It was a high school military academy. Show that here. Back here, he was the commandant, #1 ranked cadet, standing in the front of the line, the tip of the spear. Way back in the day. Did he enter the military then? You know, Tim, when they say less than 10, that's not a good one to look up. When we do less than 10, this is talking about Q team. This is how an operation is done, is only a very select few people know the whole picture. Everything else is compartmentalized, especially people in the military. They're going to be dialed into just their orders. They don't know they're part of Q team, but they're serving the Q mission. Obviously, some people could figure that out. But less than 10, look at this. Work comms here, 9 drops total. Okay, less than 10. But Tim, it always says, you mentioned this a lot here. Where we're at. Where's the one that said military? Right here. Okay, you can count the people who have the full picture on 2 hands. Of those, less than 10 people, only 3 are non-military. Why is this relevant? Game theory. Outside of a potential operator who has been dialed in with specific orders, specific to his or her mission, nobody else has this information. Operators never divulge. Don't forget that, guys, with people trying to share stuff on Telegram or things like that too. Alice in Wonderland. Okay, that's a whole nother thing there too. So, Tim, though, I wanted to bring this up because it says of those less than 10, 3 are non-military. Most people probably count Donald Trump as one of the non-military. What if he's actually been in the military the whole time? That would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting. That's something good to chew on for sure. And like we always say here, we're always wrong until we're right, and theories are allowed because that's how we expand our thinking. And Q has taught us to expand our thinking and start thinking logically. And news unlocks the map, and future proves past. So those are the most common ones. And of course, we just talked about the Great Awakening, the 5 5s. And now the less than 10 and the Q+ with 7. I mean, there's so many beautiful comms in this right now, and I'm seeing them every day, and I hope everybody watching us is. Looks like we have a hand raised in the chat. Let me check in with Mermaid Kyle.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead, Yoda.
I'll come see you in a little bit, Joe. Yeah.
They swatted Stu Peters' house tonight. They went in, they raided it. I just got wind of this. It's sickening.
So you said Stu Peters?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, disgusting. I mean, this man has been putting out the truth for so long, and they went in there with while his children were there. This is terrible.
So Annie shared one of these, looks like a Q proof. I don't even know if I know or remember this one, but it says here the Navy SEALs were flying a plane. What's that one? Password 35. And then the other one, they were flying under the call sign Anon. So these are just some confirmations. Annie, can you try to find that image? I think it's a March 15th. I don't know what year. Maybe it's 19. Maybe it's March 15th. March, let's say 12th to the 18th. I think it's the 15th. And Q shares the image where two military planes the same day, one a United States Army, one United States Air Force. One of the planes is flying under the call sign Q, and the other is flying under the call sign Anon. Other confirmations like that, again, comms outside the 8chan board or 8kun. Other ways they would validate themselves and let us know that this is a military operation. And think about that. No one was paying attention. Only Anons would know that. That's stuff that would be a major proof. But the media knows. Most people aren't, I don't want to say smart enough, but didn't have know-how or wherewithal to find all these different information like these, what's the military flying under on the call sign, right? So these are other ways that the Q information was validating themselves too. So I want to read 2788. Is there anything I'm missing here, Tim?
No, not at all. Actually, it's a good time to read that one now because, the theme so far has been helping out a lot of the new people because we are getting so many brand new eyes and ears on this information. And it's really important to focus in on helping, especially the new people, so that they're not overly confused about this and that they are more than welcome at any time to help come in and work alongside of us and learn and understand this information and how important it really is.
It's especially important that the new people are here to help us. Q says many, many times you have more than you know. I quite straight up, guys, it's our job to take our freedom back. We are not waiting on the military. The military is waiting on us, period. So if anyone raises some sort of concern, why isn't this happening? What have you done? You need to serve your school board. You need to serve your city council. Okay, we need to take action because we have been defrauded our whole entire lives, and we lost our sight. We didn't know our rights, and this goes for any country, guys. Any country. It's time for the people to take the power back. So we need to understand our power and use it. So start doing that things. Okay, everyone has a different skill set. Maybe right now it's just being here with an open mind and listening and learning. That's the first step. Next step is digging information. Like Tim said, you do have to just try, even if you don't have a lot of time, just try to research some stuff on your own. It's the law of free will. You are choosing the truth. You want the truth. People are craving the truth. People are craving transparency. That's right from a Q post. Okay, that's why they're here. Information directly to the people, but you have to take the step. You have to make that step, take the effort, okay? And then question everything, and everyone has a different skill set. Maybe you're good at making music. Maybe you're good at organizing a group meetup. Maybe you're a good public speaker. Maybe you're good at video editing. Maybe you're good at making memes. Everyone has a role to play. We are the news now, okay? We need to break the narrative that is happening, and we're already doing it. So one more thing I want to show, one more cool Q proof. This is a quantum one. Okay, so I already showed this one here, important no private comms, but this is where this is still all January 8th. This was the day that they were switching over from 4chan to 8chan. So here's a quantum Q post, future proves past. Everyone got expunged off of Twitter January 8th, and we literally all just showed up on Telegram. It was just by, we followed each other. And this was one of the first things I saw was, boom, this was highlighted here. It was like, oh my gosh, this is literally January 8th, 2021. 3 years later, we are on Telegram, and this post is talking about back in the day in 2018, they're talking about 8chan. In 2021, this post is in regard to Telegram. That is how the Q information works. It's past, present, or future. It's quantum, multiple meanings. Abbreviations can have, I always say, try to have at least 3 answers. So BO in this one is most likely board owner or board operator, talking about on the Chans. BO can also be Barack Obama. BO can be Bruce Orr. Okay, there's multiple reasons for that too. You can bypass censorship by doing acronyms. So, think of that for your own things, right? Like maybe instead of saying COVID, just say C19 or CV. People know what you're talking about. Also, the multiple meanings makes the post have multiple meanings, and sometimes, again, at different times. And then the third thing is it makes you research. Hey, what's a JV, or what's PS? Who's LP? All this stuff. And there's no easy way to learn that, guys. You just got to keep reading Q posts. Try to read 5 posts every day. The best thing I would recommend is go to QAG, QAGG.news, and pick a word and just search it every day. Whatever you want. It could be and then you'll get a range of posts over time. But let me read this one. This was, again, when we all went from Twitter to Telegram. 5:15, January 8th, 2018. Again, on January 8th, 2021, this is one of the first things I saw on Telegram. We were already on here, which was weird too, but then we came back when we got kicked off Twitter. Future dumps here, secured. Interaction to continue on dedicated research board. Q School team, what up? Suggested new board created. Current board owners claiming private comms and self-promoting. Patriots point, we will follow Q. We all went to Telegram, and it says confirmed. And then right here, thank you, Patriots. Please begin migration. We didn't like what we saw. Good solution protected by CodeMonkey. Q. CodeMonkey was basically the head honcho at 8chan. I don't know his exact title. I want to butcher it. Sorry to all the OG Anons out there listening, the Otsis, but protected by CodeMonkey. No one really, I don't want to say no one, but it's really kind of obscure who are the developers of Telegram. They seem very talented. They got quite a platform here. They're not monetizing it in any way yet. Think about that. It's been running with 500 million people on it. Who knows what the number is now? For free, right? So this is definitely part of the operation. And like Jonathan was saying, the IP addresses that are, the Department of Defense has over 40,000 IP addresses, basically a backup internet. I truly believe Telegram is there too. So if comms got brought down, the internet got brought down, we may potentially be able to still communicate on Telegram. So if you still haven't got Telegram, make sure you download Telegram. Tell your friends and family to get Telegram too, just to have it. Okay, one more post here. This confirmed it. Good job migrating. Q research confirmed. Remove post, keep it less public. Big week. This was needed. Be ready. So that's how the Q information works. It's quantum, okay? And it happens all the time. And that's, again, what we would call, that's the other kind of delta. If you're talking deltas in minutes, that has to do with a Q post coming before a Donald Trump tweet. When you're talking about deltas in years, it just means on that day. So we'll be doing that today. Next, when we get to that, is so April 4th post from 2018 would be a 4-year delta, and 2019 3-year delta, so on and so forth. And there seems to be lining up of that off. There's also lineups, they're clearly the post is talking about now today, but it might not necessarily be a delta always too. So keep that in mind. It could be from November something, and it's totally relevant to today, April 4th. But we do like to always keep an eye on the deltas. So we'll be doing that today also when we get time here. So and QAG's got a great little function. You can just click this quick link and you get drops, 1-year delta, 2-year, 3-year, 4-year. So we're in a rare time here. There's not actually any 1-year, 2-year, or 3-year deltas for the next few days, but they're all 4 years back. So this was way back in the beginning. The OGs. This is really when Q was starting to. You could just feel the steam. It was starting to pick up. People were starting to make YouTube videos and things like that. We should do a video on the history of Q too. Tim, would be super cool. Try to make it short. Maybe make a fun little video about that. So here's again. We'll cover deltas. April 2nd, 2018, and we'll obviously get. We've been covering those last couple days. We'll try to get to April 4th. Lots of information in here. But let me just read 2788. It really explains the rest of everything Q, and I think we've nailed that one. And maybe we'll even just end that recording and start again. We'll go right to the deltas. I think that's a good idea. If that's okay with you, Tim?
Yeah, no, I think that's really good. That's like a beginner's crash course. You just, a 1-hour crash course on who Q is, what Q is. I mean, that's how this conversation started. So let's put the icing on the cake with these last couple of Q drops that explain what or who Q is.
Yeah, and it's good that you say that, because anybody that really understands it, and Jordan Sather, that's actually how I first found Q was through Jordan Sather. He would ask, or when asked, who is Q? He said it's not important who Q is, it's what is Q, because it's a movement. And this post is my all-time favorite. It really just summarizes everything about the Q movement, and that's what's happening in the public, in particular with the narrative and everything else. So I'm just going to read it. It speaks for itself. You don't even need to decode this, really. Q post 2788, February 18th, 2019. This is Q posting this right here. It says, how can an entity known only as Q, faceless, nameless, fameless, etc., begin to ask questions on 4chan, now 8chan, now 8kun, backed up by the Department of Defense, by the way, FYI, and build something of this magnitude? How can the same Q entity garner such a massive amount of worldwide mainstream media, fake news, attention, and attacks? How is it possible this Q entity can forecast future events or know when the POTUS is about to tweet? Those are the zero deltas. How is it possible future proves past? And that happens all kinds of times too. Q will make a statement. We don't necessarily know what it means until after it happens, and it's clearly future proves past. And we'll hopefully we can find that maybe in some of our deltas here. And I mean, that was a future proves past there with the quantum information I was just sharing on the when we went to Telegram there too. That's I mean, we didn't know that, right? We didn't know that was a future proves past until it actually happened. But that's just one example of countless other examples. Okay, so Q post 278. Let me keep going. Okay, how is it possible future proves past regarding information provided? How is it possible this Q entity, an entity who began by merely asking questions on 4chan/8chan/8kun, was able to ... fill in the blank? Think logically. People are craving truth. People are craving transparency. People are craving equal justice under the law. People are craving good. People are craving right. People are craving true freedom, safety, and security. People are craving ... fill in the blank. Proofs negate falsehood/conspiracy attacks. And that's the reference there. If anybody is not familiar with Q, you maybe haven't heard Q specifically because the fake news media made this thing called QAnon. And you just do any search on QAnon and you'll see 100,000 articles talking about this crazy conspiracy theory. And everything they talk about has nothing to do with the actual drops. They created this thing called QAnon, which isn't a thing. And I'm not going to necessarily show that post very much, but right next to the, obviously, 2788, I've showed this one a lot too, then is also 4881, which mentions there is Q and there are anons. There is no QAnon, but the media created this label called QAnon because when you can't attack the message, you attack the messenger. But you can't attack the messenger because nobody knows who Q is. And it just gives it more validity. So they created this thing called QAnon, and is a deliberate method to combine and attach Q to comments, theories, suggestions, statements, and actions made by two. Two is anons, anonymous people, digital soldiers, anybody online, right? Okay, so anybody that can have infiltration. Because what happens when you cannot attack the information? Primary source one, Q, they can't attack the information. It's too legit. It'll wake people up. You attack and typecast through use of others. Not all anons are authentic and injected. So some are fake, especially and then all the mainstream media the Mockingbird media will go in unison. Like, let's say the guy trying to bomb the Hoover Dam. I'm sure. Let's see if we can even find that. This was one of the original first fake news, big false flag QAnon. Let's say QAnon tries to blow up Hoover Dam. Let's see if this comes up. Watching Kylie Bird dig here. I'm not. Annie Oakley's probably cringing, oh my gosh, does he even know how to find things, man? So the man, here we go. This one, timeline, violence, conspiracy. I'm sure it's in all these, but the one. So this is common, right? There's always say violence. It's all QAnon and violence and conspiracy theories. We have almost 5,000 Q drops. 5,000 Q drops, 4,953 to be exact. Not a single one calls for violence ever. So ask why they keep saying that, because it's a threat to them being the what we're up against, the deep state, Illuminati, cabal of corrupt evil people in power, whatever term you want to call them. It's good versus evil, and they own the media. The media does not represent you. They're trying to divert you. Everything they tell you is backwards and upside down. Think mirror. They say somebody's good, they're probably bad. They say they're bad, they're probably good. Those you are taught to trust the most have done the most evil things. How is it possible this Q entity, an entity who began by merely asking questions on 4chan, now 8kun, was able to, I read that, sorry guys. Let's go, where was I? Okay, proofs negate falsehoods, okay? So they would have multiple proofs. Did anybody find that picture? Annie, did you find that picture on that where the two military planes are flying under Q and Anon? Did anybody get that one? Here we go. Yeah, okay, Q post 2563. Oh, that's a good one too. Thank you. Who's that? Dustin, good job, buddy. I think it's right around, so that's a separate one. So that was another one. Is the screenshot in that one, 2563? Try to find that one. If anybody can get the images I'm looking for just to show real quick, guys. The image where they're flying under Q0, which is, what was that, 2563? It doesn't, okay, Twitter. It's civil military, so they might still be up, this account. Yeah, okay, so here's one. So the Civil Military Air Patrol they're on Twitter still. What's their at? They're at Civ Mil Air. They're always there. They're tracking it. You can track aircraft you want. There's also, was it Monkey Works? Anybody have any other good digital soldiers that do a good job tracking planes to send anybody to? Definitely Monkey Works. I don't know why you'd want to go anywhere else. Monkey Works is the man, but you should always, multiple sources of information. Come on the mic if you have anything. Okay, so this one here, right here, Air Force One. Okay, here's Air Force One. It's B742, so that's where you see it also over here. And then call sign, see these other military craft, Grizzly, other things. But Air Force One was flying under Q0. Okay, what does that mean? And again, here, see United States Air Force One. Is it Air Force One or is it that? This is used Air Force One. I'm not seeing where it confirms that, but it was Air Force One. Q0, and then Q says in Q post 2563, where is the plus on the mobile phone when dialing? That's on the 0. So that's literally another way they confirm that Donald Trump was Q plus, and these are other proofs, okay? So that's very important. That's also why Q validated themselves with the timestamps, which are very important because proofs negate falsehood. So you can't say it's fake when all these other things have been proven to be real and verified with the President of the United States and other military operators, okay? Very important because Q did have to have a lot of disinformation, leading things on, other things of that nature, but proofs negate falsehoods. Let me finish this post. I've kind of bounced around a little bit, but those who attack have an agenda talking about attacking the Q movement, which they call QAnon, which isn't even a thing, and there's literally thousands of articles on QAnon. How attacked are they, Tim? Who's the main two attack things?
Yeah, so-called QAnon is the second most attacked entity on the planet besides number one, DJT 41020 Donald John Trump.
Yes. So yeah, the second most and Trump number one. Was that Mermaid? Somebody have anything?
No, I think that was just your ice cubes clinking together, brother.
Some water. Drinking water. Come on, man. Where's that one with the two military? It's in a Q post. If you guys look up images, you guys just like Dustin's gonna find that one. Maybe we'll see. All right. Okay, where'd I go? Okay, so this Q post 2788. Sorry, guys. Squirrel. I got distracted. Keep me on track. Okay, those who attack. So specifically the Q movement. Those who attack, but it could be, this could be in regards to Trump or anything else too. But this is really about Q here. Those who attack have an agenda or remain plugged into the biggest disinformation campaign to be ever witnessed. We're seeing that play out with the election, everything else, the war in Ukraine. Okay, it's all the biggest disinformation. They've just tried to throw everything they can at Q because this is the end for them. The people awake. Critical thinking. We no longer believe what we're told. We don't react emotionally. We think critically. We are outside the matrix. We're outside their control, and that's the end game for them. The game is over when we are awake and critical thinkers. Ask yourself. Now, here explains the narrative side of it and why people get upset. Ask yourself, and again, I don't like to get into the left versus right stuff, but it's just this is what it is. Ask yourself, why are liberals always angry? Why do they curse? Why do they slander, push fake labels, racist, sexist, and every ist under the sun? Why do they create emotional outbursts when challenged? Why are they violent? Why do they form mobs, packs? Why are they incapable of listening to the other side, i.e. fascists? When you don't have facts to support your arguments, present logical reasoning, you must resort to the above tactics, right? When you don't have the facts to support your arguments, present logical reasoning for your beliefs, when you are asked about them, you must resort to the above tactics, which is being violent, forming packs, right? Because the narrative is designed to keep people in a constant state of fear, thereby forcing anger, rage, and violence. Emotionally unstable people are easier to control. They want you divided by race, divided by class, divided by religion, divided by political affiliation, divided as human beings. Divided, you are weak. Together, you are strong. When you are strong, you think for yourself. When you are strong, you challenge what you are told to believe. When you are strong, you are awake. It also goes with your health, right? When you take back responsibility and accountability for your health, you're also not easier to be controlled. You're not a slave to a pill or something else of that nature. When you are strong, you are no longer controlled. Trust yourself. Trust that you are not alone. Trust that there are good people right beside you fighting for what we know to be right. God bless you all. Where we go one, we go all. The main saying of the Q movement, right? And this is what it's all about. It's all unity. Just look at this right here. Just post this, guys. Just don't put Q at the bottom. Look at this. Post this on your social media. This is what it is. Whatever you want. I think right here is a good spot, so you're not stirring anybody, ruffle too many feathers. They want you divided. This is what it is. Okay, the Q movement is about uniting and we're all full of love, all right? We're seeking the truth. There's nothing bad about this movement, but it's attacked constantly because they don't want you awake. Let's do that too. This will be fun, and then we'll close this recording on the teaching about Q. So another one, I'll go through the Q post first. Let's do it. So one big important thing too, I think we should add, Tim, and we have this recording. By the way, we have a BitChute channel. It's Q School. School spelled regular there. The search function sucks on BitChute, so try to find us. I got to remember to share this in Diggers. We're on. I'm going to pop in here for just a second and find that dang post I was talking about. I'm going to go over here to, it's actually Q post. Never mind. It's not very intuitive for a user interface. I hope they learn and get better. And their search thing totally sucks too. They need to just copy YouTube. But anyway, so YouTube. So I want to do the white squall, and then we'll close this recording. Anything else to add, Tim? Any hands up? Anything in Diggers, Mermaid?
No, we're all good. We're all clean. I've got the closing video at the very bottom of Q School channel, so go check it out. I think it's perfect icing on the cake for this conference.
All right, let's try it one more time here. Here's the Q drop we want. It's 2563, guys. Civilian air military status, 2563, December 7th. That's Pearl Harbor. So you click on this post. We go to Monkey Works. And right here, civilian Air Force One call sign Q with the 0, 26,000 feet heading over West Virginia. I don't know if I'll find it later on this recording, so just want to go here real quick. And you see here, Air Force One. Let's see, where is it at? Oh, it's right here. Military plane, and the Q with the 0, United States Air Force, United States, and then it's Air Force One when the president's on the plane. And there it is. Call sign is right there. I thought you could usually see that. Let me click the image. There, we can see it better now. Air Force, civilian. All right. And then here's the other list of military craft. There's one when showing that one too, with the one Air Force plane was Q and the Navy or Army was Anon. Just wanted to show that one real quick. So I'll go back to the recording here. Thank you, guys. I did it again, guys. My bad. My bad. My bad. It's You guys can't hear it? All right, let me try to help out. Twitter post, and here's what he said. God, this happened last time too. I don't know the number of the previous one. Okay, but he's talking about somebody's wife and father-in-law. I can't remember the beginning of this, but it's a 2 or 3 part post. But this is the important part. It says his wife and father-in-law. Watch this, Shelly, till you get a chance. Oh yeah, you can move that. Just throw that on the ground. So check this out. Okay, so right here, his wife and father-in-law, who has the money? So he was basically saying this guy is going to get off scot-free, but he spelled it like a guy's name, scot-free, even capitalized, capital S, capital F, okay? And also there's comms in his tweets with the capital letters, using especially gematria taking letters into numbers. Not going to get into that now, but that's there. Okay, so he spelt it, and scot-free is supposed to be spelled SCOT-free, and it's not supposed to be capitalized. Oh, you should have seen how many people on Twitter wanted to call him an idiot for that, right? Okay. The rest of the tweet is he lied for this outcome, and should, in my opinion, serve a full and complete sentence. So he's also getting that word out there. But they all made fun of him for the scot-free thing. But guess what we got to do on Q School, right? But the thing too with the Q movement in the beginning. No sound still. It was very lonely, right? It's very a solo journey too. So I'm so thankful that we can do this on Telegram here, and all the diggers come together. It's just such an exciting time, especially when Q's going to start posting again, whenever that may be. It's probably a ways out still, but when they post again, it's gonna be so fun to do this live, Tim. Again, like you get the dings, and it's gonna be super fun. Oh man, this whole year is gonna be fun though, guys. Too. We've been exposed and everything, and more things are dropping, more indictments are coming, more information about Spygate's coming out. These people are not getting off scot-free. They are not, definitely. Okay, so here's this post. The art of trolling the fake news media. So Donald Trump makes that tweet, okay, and he says, this guy shouldn't get off scot-free, okay, and the media goes full sum, oh, what an idiot, everybody on Twitter. Okay, step 2, what's this one? People politics. So this is President Donald Trump's latest misspelling, has Twitter users wondering, who is scot-free? And that was, again, everyone would say that. Who's scot-free? Who's, like, jokingly trying to be sarcastic to him? Who's scot-free, Tim? Do you know scot-free? So here, we'll read it right here. Scot-Free Productions, Tim might be putting Matthew away too. Scot-Free Productions is a British-American independent film television production company founded in 1970 by filmmakers and brothers Ridley Scott and Tony Scott. But the big thing here is one of their main attractions between the productions of White Squall. So Ridley Scott is White Squall, the movie, is created by Scot-Free Productions. And White Squall is the movie where we go one, we go all comes from. It says, thank you for playing. And that's how you complete the troll. And then people are then asking about Scot-Free and more people coming to the movement. And I want to show that real quick. I thought it was in there. I'm going to show the trailer for White Squall. And then we're almost done too. So check this out. This is the movie White Squall. Okay. And talk about White Hat. What's that main actor's name? He's awesome. Jeff Bridges. There it is. Jeff Bridges. Yeah. But watch this. The next 60 seconds, watch the trailer for this movie. And again, this movie was back in 1990. Let me see the date on the recording here. Let me pause it for a second. So, oh no, this will be later. Oh yeah, 1996. So White Squall came out in 1996. Just watch this trailer. Now again, key terms in the movement are, of course, where we go one, we go all. Anons, okay, anonymous people, and of course, like Donald Trump said, maybe it's the calm before the storm. This movie's from 1996.
The ship beneath you is not a toy. Sailing's not a game.
Why the hell do it?
Bill's character, Mr. Preston, of which you are in desperately short supply.
They came from different places, and this Ocean Academy isn't recognized as accredited. It'll be a good thing, Dad. They sailed.
By the way, if you guys have seen this, if it's your first time watching the video, just watch it, enjoy it. If you guys have seen this before, watch the closed captioning.
Different reasons.
I don't want to be what I was when I left.
There you go.
Anonymous.
But there was only one way.
We'll do it together.
I can't.
Climb! To survive on his ship.
I will challenge them and they will come together.
Become a team.
We go one, we go all.
Because where he was taking them
What are they doing?
Claiming their place in the world.
could not be measured in miles. They thought they had survived the greatest challenge of their lives.
We had come through every kind of seas imaginable.
Except a white squall.
But it was only
White squalls are a phenomenon of the imagination.
the calm
What happened to my ship was not imagined.
before the storm. Largo Entertainment presents a film about royalty,
Where we go one,
we go all. Discovery
But we're crew. That's what this whole thing is about.
and courage.
Don't you walk out of this, Skipper, you don't!
Captain, they're only boys.
We listened to you, we believed you,
They're much more than that, sir.
and we are still here!
Jeff Bridges in a Ridley Scott film. White Squall. Based on a true story.
Based on a true story, because it's happening right
man.
now.
Yeah, I just finished talking Matthew, and I come back and you're playing White Squall. I'm going, right on, my brother's playing White Squall. So I've got the closing video in Q School for you too, bro, when you're ready.
Okay.
Wow,
and,
what a great show.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'm sure you got something good for us. I know Leota. Maybe we'll play that. Let's play Enjoy the Show after. I'm sure Tim's got a good video for us. So I'll play that. But we should do the. Oh, okay. So this one's 9 minutes. Okay. So play that, and then or you want to end the recording after this video, Tim, or before?
No,
After?
play part. I want a part of the video. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Okay.
A person's value. 1. Vote. 2. Monetary value. Tax contribution. 3. Why is free thought ridiculed, challenged, and threatened when a
These
person
are all
is opposed
drops.
to the mainstream
Every single
narrative?
one.
2. Remains fixed. Degree allowable by economic recession and expansion. 1. Remains a variable. 1. Dependent on a controlled system of information dissemination. What happens when 90% of the media is controlled and owned by 6 corporations? What happens when those same corporations are operated and controlled by a political ideology? What happens when the news is no longer free from bias? What happens when the news is no longer reliable and independent? What happens when the news is no longer trustworthy? What happens when the news simply becomes an extension arm of a political party? Fact becomes fiction. Fiction becomes fact. When does news become propaganda? Identity creation.
How does the average person who is under constant financial stress by design find time to research and discern fact versus fiction? Majority of people more prone to believe someone in power is sitting behind a big brand news name. Do people, human psyche, tend to follow the majority mainstream viewpoint in fear of being isolated and or shunned? Mainstream is used for a reason. Dominate trend in opinion. If a majority of people believe X, then X must be validated true. Why do mainstream media heads within different organizations always use the same keywords and or catchphrases? Coordinated? By who? Outside entity providing instructions? Do they count on the fact that people, human psyche, are more prone to believe something if heard over and over again by different trusted sources? Do echo chamber tactics provide validation credibility to the topic, point being discussed? Threat to intellectual freedom? Would control over of these institutions, organizations, allow for mass control of population's viewpoint regarding a desired topic? Read again. Digest. Would control over of these institutions, organizations, allow for the mass control of population's viewpoint regarding a desired topic? Logical thinking. Why, after the election of 2016, did D's and media corporations jumpstart a coordinated and planned divisive blitz intended to create falsehoods regarding illegitimacy of election, character assassination of POTUS through sexism, racism, and every other ism? pre-post 2016 election? Why were violent masked terror orgs such as Antifa immediately created and funded? Why were these organizations tasked with immediate intimidation, shutdown of any pro-POTUS rallies and or events? Why were marches immediately organized to counter and silence pro-POTUS rally and or events? Why were marches immediately organized which divided people into sex, gender, race-ism? When you control the levers of news dissemination, you control the narrative. Control of the narrative equals power. When you are blind, what do you see?
They want you divided. Divided by religion, divided by sex, divided by political affiliation, divided by class. When you are divided and angry and controlled, you target those different from you, not those responsible controllers. Divided, you are weak. Divided, you pose no threat to their control. When non-dogmatic information becomes free and transparent, it becomes a threat to those who attempt to control the narrative and or stable livestock kept, sheep. When you are awake, you stand on the outside of the stable, groupthink collective, and have free thought. Free thought is a philosophical viewpoint which holds that positions regarding truth should be formed on the basis of logic, reason, and empiricism, rather than authority, tradition, revelation, or dogma. This represents a clear and present danger to the constitutional republic of the United States of America. Q.
Decide for yourself. Be free from outside opinion. Decide for yourself. Be objective in your conclusions. Decide for yourself. Be true in your own beliefs. Decide for yourself. Be open to following the facts. Decide for yourself. Be strong in defending your beliefs. Decide for yourself. Be resistant to blindly accepting factless statements.
Those that attack you, those that mock you, those who call you, those who control you, those who label you, do they represent you? Or do they represent themselves in some form? Mental enslavement.
Don't stop the recording, Tim. After it's over,
Freedom
don't
of
stop it.
thought was designed and created not only as a back channel to the public, away from the long-standing mind control of the corrupt and heavily biased media, to endure future events through transparency and regeneration of individual thought, breaking the chains of groupthink, but more importantly, aid in the construction of a vehicle, a ship that provides the scattered free thinkers with a starter, new social networking platform which allows for freedom of thought, expression, patriotism, or national pride, feeling of love, devotion, and sense of attachment to a homeland and alliance with other citizens who share the same sentiment. When non-dogmatic information becomes free and transparent, it becomes a threat to those who attempt to control the narrative and or the stable. When you are awake, you stand on the outside of the stable, groupthink collective, and have free thought. Free thought is a philosophical viewpoint which holds that position regarding truth should be formed on the basis of logic, reason, and empiricism, rather than authority, tradition, revelation, or dogma. When you are awake, you are able to clearly see. The choice is yours and yours alone. Trust and put faith in yourself. You are not alone, and you are not in the minority. Difficult truths will soon see the light of day. Where we go one, we go all. Q.
The entire world is watching. Patriots from around the world are praying for America. We're all bound by a feeling deep inside, a feeling that cannot be publicly expressed for fear of ridicule, a feeling that challenges the mainstream narrative against that which we are told to accept and dare not question. Put simply, that people are being abused by those in power and time is running out. Remember the battles of Lexington and Concord. Give me liberty or give me death. For far too long, we have been silent and allowed our bands of strength that we once formed to defend liberty and freedom to deteriorate. We became divided, became weak. We elected traitors to govern us. We allowed evil to prey on us. Those who claimed to represent us gave us false hope, made false promises. The evil and corruption only grew.
This is more than party politics. This is about restoring old glory. This is about saving our land and our people from those who wish to harm. This is about preserving our republic. This is about preserving our safety. This is about restoring our strength. This is about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is about protecting our children. This is about saving America.
We are all God's children. We are fathers. We are mothers. We are daughters. We are sons. We are brothers. We are sisters. We do not look at race. We do not look at skin color.
We are united in these states of America. We are and will always be patriots. We must rise again. We must unite again. We must fight again for God and country. God bless America. Where we go one, we go all.
Don't stop it yet, Tim. Man, what a perfect video from my partner there to close this amazing day and recording up. So, we didn't get to the deltas today, but we'll try to double down on that tomorrow, guys. We just always go with our gut and our divine guidance. And what a special day. That thing just got me fired up, Tim. That's what this movement is all about, guys. It's the great awakening. Okay, we're all awakening from our sleep, our slumber. It's about the great unveiling, right? Revelation's the great unveiling, because everything is made clear now. The light is shining on everything. We see clearly now. We are no longer blinded. The flow of information is there, and we have access to it. We are in control of the information. We have everything from cures to evidence of these traitors to our country, and every country has been sold out. In particular, the United States, by the rogue intelligence agencies, have put every country under their thumb and stolen their resources and enslaved their people. We are here to awaken everybody to this truth, because we are going to this shift, this new world, this new earth where we all have love in our hearts, and none of this evil's there. When you learn this stuff, it can be very disturbing at first, but then it sets you free, because it may be hard to accept at first, but once you understand there are levers behind, right? The man behind the curtain, they're the one that's always been steering us into fighting each other. We're here in this movement because we're here for truth, for freedom, and for our children and the children's children, for saving the children. And man, that was just such an awesome video, Tim. That's what this movement is all about. We're all here in unity. We're all here trying to find the truth. We're here for freedom. That's what it's all about. And I just want to thank you all for being here tonight. I think it was a perfect time, Tim, to do the revisit with just teaching things about Q. And it's good to do that one maybe every few months. And what a divine timing that my friends showed up today. And I didn't even know that they, knew a lot of stuff. And just what a beautiful day. And I thank all of you again for being here. All of you are here it's not an accident you're here. And the other beautiful part about that is there is a plan. And that's where we get to walk confidently with faith, knowing that everything will be okay. And it's important to understand that, yes, there's the military operation. They're doing the things that we can't control. They will ultimately will be publicly known that these people have been arrested. More arrests will happen. But we also don't have to be fearful. There will be no world war. I guarantee you that. We are protected. They are going to take care of the things we can't control. It's our job to take care of the rest. And that means getting proactive in your local community. Go to your school board. You don't have to have a kid on the school board. Go to your city councils. Learn your rights. Learn your laws. Serve the surety bonds to these people. Learn all this stuff. Take action. Create videos, music, art, poetry about the awakening. Everyone has a role to play. And again, maybe that's just here listening with an open mind. And that could be it in the beginning. But everyone has a role to play. There is a plan. It's a beautiful world thing, and we're all here with love in our hearts. This is what this is what prophecy has talked about. This is the great shift that's coming. And I know Peacekeeper talks about a lot too, biblical. Okay, and there's several posts. He says read all the posts that says it's going to be biblical. All right, well, no one knows the time or day, but it's going to be something significant, and it will change the world forever. Right, these people that have been criminals for far too long are going to face justice, and it's going to shock the world. The truth will literally shock the world. And even all of us who are, more aware of things and been researching or awake, would you say, for a long time, we will be humbled to our core when we find out the depth of the information that's been kept from us. And it quite literally, that is the flood of our time, will be the flood of information because it's been kept from us for so long. 5,000 patents on classified technology, things like just solar energy. If you can, save more than 50% of the solar energy, that's classified under national security. We have healing devices. We got free energy technology. We can desalinate the ocean so we can get fresh water everywhere. We have it all. We just need to tell the people, make them aware, and then take the action to get it done. You got to go serve your legal courts, all that, everything. It's all relevant, and that's part of the process. Again, you'll get there when you get there. But if you guys have been awake for a while in the movement, you need to start taking action on that. The surety bonds, Mermaid, you want to drop that? Well, I guess that's more of a private thing, maybe. But you serve these politicians, serve your school boards, take action, or just start, forming groups together too. It's about uniting, and that's what this movement is all about too. So I couldn't be happier to do it with you guys. Love you all, Tim, especially my brother from another mother. So good to hear you kind of open your heart and tell your story a little bit, and of course having the connection there with my friends here, and 45 beautiful patriots in the chat. Not an accident. Thank you guys, all that you do, all the digging, all the support and love. We couldn't do without you guys. So I just wanted to say that. Sorry, we went a little bit longer there, but that's all I got, Tim. Anything else? And that's it. Love y'all. Where we go one, we go all, guys.
That's right, brother. And you do it because only you're a Q-man. And I've got that video lined up for you if you want to end this recording with Q-man. Only a Q-man. That's you, brother. You were on fire tonight. I so much love you and your enthusiasm and your knowledge, and of course your beautiful mind and memory, and of course just you're such a big part of this movement, Kyle. And I think that's one of the reasons why we have so many beautiful patriots coming into this channel of ours. You just keep pouring it out night after night, day after day. And we go a little bit off topic, but like Kyle says, I mean, we go where the Q drops lead us, where the theme, where the mood, where the atmosphere leads us, and we never are steered wrong through the Q information. And that's because each and every one of us here is part of this plan, part of the mission, and we are Q men and women. So Kyle, if you want to play that last video, cue it up there for us. Let's wrap up the video. I just want to end by saying, just keep fighting, keep uniting, and keep inviting other beautiful patriots from around the world to this movement. And you're on the side of truth. We are all on the side of truth, and we're on the side of God, and nothing can stop what is coming. Nothing, brother. Are you muted, Kyle? You're muted.
Reads my mind, man. It's like my brother. We're synced up in the quantum computer. He does that so many times. Yeah, I was talking to my friend. Yeah, thank you for those kind words, Tim. Love you so much. Great choice on the video. That was freaking awesome. Man, that was super cool. So we got one more there, the Q man. Where'd you put that one? Oh, here it is down here, right? Yeah, Q man. So end on this. Thank you guys. What a beautiful day. So thank you all for being here. Have a great night.
Foolish, maybe they're blind, thinking we couldn't do this, but the next day is dying. Maybe it screws us, so baby we're crying. Cause we're only human, not the bomb. We're only human, watching them fall. They'll put the blame on me. They'll put the blame on me. Take a look at the media, what do you see? Do you eat what they feed you to keep you deceived? In what you believe? Cause we're only human, we have it all. We're only human, let the hammer fall. Ain't no conspiracy. They'll put the blame on me. Some people got the real problems. Some people out of luck. Some preachers thinking they can stop us. But God's watching above. Cause we're only human, we open the door. We're only human, if you wanna know more, rather chat with me. Truth will set you free. Cause we're only human, making it rain. We're only human, and bringing the pain. Put the blame on me. Ain't no conspiracy. Cause I'm no problem below Zion. I'm just another midnight rider. Cause we're only human, we're having a ball. We're only human, catching them all. Ain't no conspiracy. They'll put the blame on me. We're only human, trust in a plan. We are the women, children, and men. Don't you know we're the key? Now we the people we can see.